Welcome to another Technical Technician video brought to you from Diagnostics. Basically, the title of this video is Head Gasket Diagnosis, pretty much with a delta sensor or a pressure transducer on the radiator cap or the degas bottle, basically the cooling system. Right in front of us, we have a situation where I believe it's a Mitsubishi Galant came to me with a misfire code, it was a P0304, and a history of overheating. And we looked at it, and I just wanted to prove out the head gasket was sound. It was pretty easy to check. Basically, I have on channel B is relative compression, and I'm sorry, channel A is relative compression in blue, and channel B is the transducer in the on the radiator cap, over on the top of the radiator. And as you can see, we see a major anomaly right here. Every 4 cylinders, here's the fire cycle as validated by the relative compression. You can see in here that we go high on this cylinder, then we go the next, and then high again. We actually pulled the spark plug out and put a borescope in the cylinder, and yes, it did have, we saw antifreeze dripping in to the cylinder from the head gasket, and we deemed it obviously a blown head gasket. And it had a history of overheating, and of course the misfire on cylinder 4. But one thing I just want to talk about is relative compression. It's kind of subtle looking. I'm going to try to give it some vertical zoom and see if we can, oops, what did I do there? Okay, let's get back to normal. Okay, we can see if you see a slight overshoot on the cylinder after the one, it's a little excessive because there's a slight slowing down of the crankshaft right after the cylinder with the compromised head gasket. So let me just put some filter on there, and we'll see that. Basically, here's our cylinder with the, with the blown head gasket. Here's a little overshoot. Bottom line is, here's the most conclusive capture right here. You really take it to the bank with this thing. But I'm just saying that sometimes a relative compression is a good validator as far as the fire cycle. You can see a little high rise here as the crank slowed down again after this cylinder, which was probably a little less compression due to the head gasket. And then it goes 1, 2, 3, and then a little low here. Obviously, that's lower than the other 3, and that's right in sync with the pressure in the cooling system. So just something to bear in mind. I want to show one other capture. I want to go back to August 10th. That was my first day at the job, the first car I worked on, and it was one of those deals. You come to work and your heart's kind of beating out of your chest. You're driving to the job for the first day, and this was the first ticket. It was a Cadillac that had a check engine light on. It had overheated, and it had a code for throttle reduction and temperature. And let me go back to that date and find out. I'll show you basically this capture. I used this same technique on that caddy to prove out if it apparently had a blown head gasket. The freeze frame for the code, the coolant was 277. That was sort of caught my eye, and here it is, caddy. And so I decided to do this technique. Here's the capture, and as you can see, the blue is the transducer at the degas bottle, and the red is that's relative compression done through voltage. That's AC coupled and intensely hooked up backwards on the pico scope, because I do have isolated grounds. So the battery was in the trunk. I didn't want to start getting out clamps and extensions and whatnot, so I decided to get relative compression via AC voltage. And you could see a relative compression looks pretty even on the top and on the bottom. No major anomalies, nobody's swinging a little wild. And also the blue channel looks, you can see that there's no real anomaly here either. So like the other capture on the Mitsubishi, you could see one sticking out like a sore thumb. So I went through this capture, and I said, well, I had to deem that the head gasket is okay. And we also, after this, we block tested it. And it tested negative for a blown head gasket. It did not have a blown head gasket. We put a water pump in it. It had leaked fluid current. It leaked coolant from the water pump, and we put a new water pump on, and it went down the road. But just to point out that this is a powerful diagnostic technique to use like a delta sensor in the radiator neck to see if there's any pressure in that cooling system from the compression. So, but nonetheless, that's just a comparative between one car that had a blown head gasket and one car that did not. Okay, thank you very much for watching.